Hello everyone, good evening. This is Alok this side. Hi Amit, I see you are there. Would you please confirm? Yes, test connection.
Please let me know if you can all see my screen right now. I hope all of you can see my screen. Perfect. Okay, so just give me 2 minutes. Okay, let me just give me 2 minutes. Let me just set up a few things. Just a minute. Hello. Yeah. Hi all. Very good evening. And have we all interacted in the past in any of these sessions? Let me just check out. So my name is Amit. Uh, uh, have we interacted in this batch? I mean, in the past. Okay. So class, so I'll just give you a brief introduction about myself before we move on with the things. So my name is Amay, and I have more than 10 years of experience of working into the BI analytics, and I have my forte on the tools like Tableau, Power BI, R, SAS, Python, and SQL Server, and also the other kind of tools that I've used in my entire 10 years of career, and I've delivered a lot of solutions for the Fortune 500 clients like your ABB, you have your Sainsbury's, Volkswagen. So these are the kind of clients for whom I have delivered the analytical solutions. And so in this, entire training period, we will be discussing how SaaS is used in the industry today. And okay, so you were in one of the webinars, right? So we will be discussing about how SaaS is used into the industry, what are its benefits over the other tools, and what are its cons, and how easy and how do we implement this tool over here, and we will how you can get this tool ready and installed on your machine. So we'll just get familiar with all those things over here. Okay, this is what broadly the agenda will be for today. So let us just get started. Yeah. So class, so SAS, is a tool, right, which stands for Statistical Analysis System. Okay, that is what this tool stands for. And this is, I mean, one of the, I would say oldest tool that is being used into the industry. In fact, if you talk about like 7, 8 years back, right, SAS had so much of demand, and SAS was so popular tool into the industry that, I mean, in fact, if when a person used to say, I know SAS, they used to get hired like anything, right? I'm telling you, like if you talk about the scenarios of 2011, 2010, 12, right? At that point in time, analytics also was not that much popular. Like we, are like hearing all those things, data science, data engineering, all these new tools are Python, ML Studios, all these stuff. These have become really popular nowadays. But if I talk about 5, 7 years back, SAS used to be the leader among these, the data analytics solutions. So but the problem with the SaaS was that why it got a little left behind was it's a very expensive software to implement, right? Like R and Python, they are open source and anyone can use them and implement them. But SaaS takes millions of bucks in order to get it implemented and get it ready into your system. Okay, so we will start with the overview of SaaS, that what SaaS is, how do you use the SaaS, and what are the different, what is the programming language, and what are the different interface of the SaaS that we have. Okay, so that is how we will be starting with the things over here. So SAS, which is known as Statistical Analysis System, is a collection of modules that are used to process and analyze the data. Okay, when I say modules, modules are nothing. Modules are just like you have the packages in your R and Python. In this SAS, we have the modules, or you can call it as procedures, which we use in order to analyze the data. So somewhere down the lines, it has some similarity, but the way we use the modules in the SAS, they are far more easier and simpler to implement. Okay, that is how they are different from the R and Python. Okay, and let me do one thing. Let me just open up this SAS once, so that I can show you that as well. Just let me open it up. Hello. Sorry, I think so. So how many classes? So Gaurav, you're asking. Gaurav has a question that how many classes do we have? So we'll have around, I guess, 6 to 8 classes for SAS. Okay. Hello. Thank Right. So basically, because this SaaS is actually a bit of a, the software that comes at a cost. So you actually have to go a little way. Either you can download this what we have is like this your the student version of the SaaS, or what you can do is there is a copy of this SaaS software, which we actually which generally I provide through the hard drives and pen drives when we have the live sessions. But right now I won't be able to do it. So what I'll do is I'll share a link with you from where you will be able to download this SaaS software, the original SaaS software. I'll share that link. So you'll have to use torrent for that. And from the torrent, you will be able to download that SaaS. It's a heavy file, around 13, 14 GB file that you will have to download in order to get this SaaS installed onto your machines. Okay, and the bad thing about this is that this also works. You have to backdate your system in order to run that SaaS. So like if I show you now, if I say SaaS 9.4, see, it is giving me an error over here. The current date of the system is 19 September 2020, but the software has expired on 16th March 2014. So what I'll do is I'll actually backdate my system, and we'll go to the February, change. Here's sort of, it's a sort of a crack over here that we have to follow, right? So while installation also, you'll have to keep that thing into the mind so as to open that up. Why is it not opened? So now it will not give me an error. It will open up. So I'll click on yes. Yep. So close. So there we are, right? So now the system is back, and what I'll do now is I can now set up my time to the original state. Now SAS will keep on working. Okay, now I will not have any trouble in terms of using the SAS over here. Once the SAS is launched, now I can use it and I can correct the time as well. Because if the time will be backdated, I mean, if you will backdate your machine, you will not be able to use the internet as well. So that is what the biggest challenge that we get. Okay, so let us go back over here and let us start exploring the SAS. Yes, Agriti, you will have to just backdate it once so that you can start using it, and then you can bring it to the normal time and it will work without any hassles. Okay. So let us get a little bit familiar with this, the different interface functionalities, how this SAS basically works. Let me go back to the full screen mode. Okay. So SAS, it's a highly flexible and integrated software environment that can be used in virtually any settings for to access, manipulate, manage, store, analyze, and report on the data. Right. So now SAS is a very versatile tool. It is actually used in the industry for reporting purpose also. Right. Like what happens with the R and Python is R and Python are majorly used for predictive modeling kind of a stuff. Right. Where you want to do some predictive modeling or you want to do some clustering and all. But whereas SAS is something that is used for the reporting also and plus predictive modeling both, right? It has both the capabilities. So the dynamics of this SAS tool are wider as if you compare it with the the R or Python. So that is how it is. And plus, in terms of implementation, I mean, I will not say implementation, rather I should say the coding, the way you have to write the code over there also, SAS is much more flexible and the kind of codes that you have to write over here, they are far more simpler that I feel, right? I mean, as per my knowledge, I have seen it is more flexible in terms of writing the codes. All the procedures are kind of predefined, and the structure, the way you have to write the SAS programming, that is also it is way more, you know, structured or organized as you compare it with the other tools like R and Python. Okay, so now let us see how this tool got invented. Okay, so what was, like, it is said that necessity is the mother of the invention. So same was the case over here. So in 1970s, right, there was a need that the company actually had. So there was a need that there was a project where US agricultural data was to be analyzed, right? So for this they needed a sophisticated computer to analyze the data. So that is where the North Carolina state, they had some high powerful, these systems with them. They collaborated with the universities and they developed a software that was called as Statistical Analysis System, SAS. And later on, this same thing became a independent company, right? So with the help of NIH funding, the project was started, and then SAS was established as a separate company in 1976. And later on, in 1980s, the SAS was rewritten in C language, enabling it to run on many different platforms. SAS was reinvented, and then in 2010, there were a lot more tools of SAS that were introduced into the market. Like, we have the SAS VA, which is called as SAS Visual Analytics. Then there is SAS Text Mining tool, right? So there are a lot of SAS tools that are available in the market now. And the latest version of the SAS that is available in the market is SAS 9.4. And the link that I will be sharing with all of you will be of SAS 9.4 only. And if you would like to try it, if you would like to search it by yourself, you can try it on the torrent, right? You can go onto the torrent and you can just type in SAS 9 space 4, right? You will be able to find the first link, which will be for downloading the SAS software. And you can download that file from that torrent directly. So there is also a student version of the SAS which you can use if you would like to use it. But the interface of that, that student version is little different. So that is why you might find that you are not able to get that complete, the real time kind of a the hands-on on that SAS. So that is why I would recommend, so though I'm not promoting piracy over here, but still there is no option that is left with us. We cannot spend lakhs of bucks on buying that software. Okay. So yes, so guys, you can use this for the EDA purpose. So that is data engineering plus modeling plus Power BI is equals to SAS, right? You can say that sort of that it has all those capabilities. Okay. So now this is how the interface of the SAS looks like. If I'll just show you right now over here, it's fairly simple. Okay, you have these windows over here. Okay, so this is how this window of the SAS looks like. It basically has 3 windows that we use. Let me open up the third one. Okay, SAS basically has 3 windows. If you see it from here, I'll just draw them. The first one that you can see over here, that is this. One is program editor, one is log window, and third is your output window. Okay, so these are the 3 windows that we actually use in the SAS. So program editor, as the name itself tells, this is something that you use to write your codes. Okay, in this window you write your codes. Log window is something where it will show you the execution of your code, right? When you execute your code, if there would be any errors or it would have been successfully executed, it will show you all those errors in this log window. And if in case there is any output that is related, it will show you that output in the output window over here. So that is fairly simple, the interface of this SaaS is. And in this side, on the left hand side, you will find an Explorer window. In the Explorer window, there is one thing that we will be using, that is libraries. Okay, I'll just tell you in just a little while what libraries are. I'll explain you the concept of libraries. Okay, so first of all, let us just go back to the SaaS and let us try to read a little more about it. Okay. So SaaS, why a company should be using what the main agenda of this training would be. We won't be doing a predictive modeling kind of a stuff with the SaaS in this training, right? Because since you have already done that lot of modeling and all that stuff using the R and Python already in your previous modules, so the idea remains the same, right? Just the procedures will change. So that is why that will not be a part of this training agenda. We will be doing it more for the perspective of data preparation, data reporting, and SQL and macro automation of the SaaS over here. That would be the broader agenda of this training. Okay. So now we will talk about the features of the SaaS, right? So what are the features the SaaS has? Now SaaS has features like, it can interact with millions of rows, thousands of columns. You can build, it comes with built-in statistical and random number functions. It has comprehensive date and time handling. You have a lot of functions for character and numeric manipulations. You can interact with any of the databases using the help of SaaS. You can run it on the different operating systems. Plus, you can use it with the different file formats as well: CSV, PDF, XML. So you can use this file with a variety of the databases and files that is present over here, right? It supports a I can say multi-architecture system. It can be run on the Windows also, and it can be used on the Unix also, Linux also. So I mean, it supports a multi-vendor architecture. It can be used on variety of operating systems. So we have a lot Okay. So now that the previous slides were nothing, they were just explaining all those windows only. So that is why I skipped all of that stuff. So now can you all just all of you please take a look at this image over here. Just take a look at this image. This is the same image that I was explaining you previously. Okay, as we were discussing that SAS is just about two of the things, data step and proc step. Okay, and you can see this definition that is written over here. Data step are typically used to create and update the SAS data sets, right? So data step used to create and update both. You have to understand both the conditions. Either you will be creating a data set, or if there is a requirement that you have to update, that the SAS data set was already there, but you want to update it, you want to transform it, you will always use a data step. And procedures are proc step are usually used to process those SAS data sets. For example, you want to sort the data, you want to manage the data, you want to generate some reports, graphs, or do some data analysis. That is how we use this the procedure, the proc steps over here. Is written over here. This is just a demonstration of code looks like in the SAS. So like as I said, right, every code either starts with a data word or it starts with a proc word, right? You can see the code is starting over here with a data step. Data step means we are loading some data from a CSV file. So I am creating a data set over here, and over here I am just taking a look at that data what I have created. So that is a proc print procedure step where I am seeing that data over here. That is the proc step. Okay. So now there are certain, I will say there are certain rules that you have to follow when you are writing a SAS code. Okay, there are some rules for that. And those rules are that all lines of all the statements in the SAS programming, they start with a keyword. Okay, every statement in a SAS, it will start with a keyword. What are keywords? Yes, class, what are keywords? Nitin says data. Reserved words, right? So they are the reserved words which have a specific meaning. So pre-programmed word, correct, right? So SAS, every SAS line syntax, it starts with the word, it starts with the keyword and it ends with a semicolon, right? So you might not be having that habit of using the semicolons, you know, in your R and Python, but you will have to use them over here now. And you will have to use colons in order to end the statement. Okay. SAS programming is completely case insensitive. You can write a case, it will work, right? It is not follow any indentation. I mean, you can write the complete SAS code in the one line as well, with a, but you have to make sure that the proper semicolons are coming after every statement. So you can write it in one statement as well, the entire code, right? And all the codes, right? All the codes, they will end with run. You will find the code, the data portion, it ends with run. Proc print, it ends with run. So all your codes, they end with the run statement, where the SAS understands that now it has to execute the code which has been sent to it. And with the data written or the proc written from these two words, SAS understands that from here a new code is starting. Whether it, with the moment it, you know, it sees the word data or it sees the word proc, so SAS is able to understand that there is a new data that is the new code that is starting over here. Okay, am I making sense? Any questions up till here, anyone? Okay, so we have, okay, so no questions. Okay, so these are some rules that you have. So a code can begin in any column and can span any line. It should always end with a semicolon. SAS is case insensitive, right? And they are free format. One or more blanks or special characters can be used to separate the words. It can begin and end in any column. A single statement can span multiple lines, and several statements can be on the same line as well, right? So you can write your SAS code in any way that you want. So what I'll do now is, let us do something practically over here. Okay, let us start with the stuff so that the things start making more sense to you. Okay, just give me 1 minute, class. Okay, so now I am showing you certain. So I have a folder with me. In this folder, I already have some pre-created SAS datasets. Okay, I'm showing you some this dataset that says Chicago.SAS7B. All of you, I hope you can all see it. Right, these are some pre-created SAS datasets that are sitting or they are saved onto my machine. Okay, I will start with the pre-created or the pre-ready we will start with the predefined datasets over here. How we can create the SAS datasets from the raw data also. Okay, so let us start with the practical scenario on how the SAS works. The first thing over here is you actually have to understand the concept of libraries. Okay, this is the first concept that you have to understand, and that is the concept of libraries. Now, what are libraries? Okay, what are libraries? Libraries are basically, they are called as a connection between SAS and the SAS datasets. Okay, that is what a library is. Okay, like in the R, what you do is you create working directory. You do it when you run your command set wd, you say set working directory. So what you do is you instruct R that you will be using the files from this particular path, or you will be saving the files in this particular path, right? That is what you do. Now, in the same way, in the SAS, what we do is we have to create that connection, that where those SAS data sets are kept, which have to be used in this SAS software, right? Because SAS will not be able to identify where the SAS data sets are placed. So what you do first thing is you create a library. Library is nothing, it's a connection. Okay, so let us see how do we create those connections over here. If you will see, there are certain connections that are already there into my machine. Okay, and I will show you the path where those data sets are placed. You see, this is the path on my local system where all the data sets are kept. What I will do is I'll pick this, I'll just copy this path, I'll come to the SAS, and over here I'll write a command that is libname. Okay, I'll write libname. Then what you do is to define the name of the library, right? You will give the name of that library. What is the name you want to give to that library or to that connection? So, okay, so I'll maybe use that. I'll say DSP 56 or 55, and it is something like that. DSP 56. I am giving a name 54. Okay, so DSP 54. So I'm saying libname DSP 54, and in the single quotes, I will put that path. Okay, this is the path in the single quotes, and I'll close it. Okay. So what this will do is it will create a connection by the name DSP54, and in that connection, what will happen is all the SAS data sets that are placed in this folder, that are kept in this folder, I will be able to access them in this Power BI interface. Okay, let me show you. Let me select this and let us run this command. So at the top, you see there is a submit button. See, I have written the code in the program editor, and this is the submit button, which will execute. If you run this, there is a DSP54 that has been created. Okay, so there is a library that has been created by the name DSP54. DSP54 is nothing, it is just a connection which has pulled up all the data sets that were placed in that folder. All the data SAS sets that were SAS data sets that were placed in that folder, they are pulled up into this SAS interface now. Okay, so this is how you create a library. So library is the first most step you have to start your programming with. Okay. Now, any questions up till here, anyone? If you would like to ask anything. Okay. Now these libraries that we create, okay. And one more thing, I hope this window is clearly visible to all of you. Let me just increase the font size if it is not. Okay, so it will be a little more visible to you now. Okay, so what I've done is, how to run the command is, you select that part of the code, okay, and select execute on this submit button. This is the submit button to execute that code, or you can press F3. F3 is a shortcut key to run the same thing. Okay. Now what happened is, in the SAS, the libraries are of two types. Okay. SAS libraries are of two types. One is temporary and another is permanent. Okay, now what do I mean by temporary and what do I mean by permanent? Okay, temporary means, when you create a library by writing this code over here where you say libname dsp54 and this is the file path. Close my SAS session. The moment I'll close my SAS session, this connection will break. This connection will break and I will not be able to see DSP54 anymore over here. The connection will be broken up. See, connection will be broken up. It is not that the SAS datasets will be deleted. Datasets will be there the way they are. They will not get deleted because library is just a connection. Okay. So what will happen is this connection will break. Actually, I will have to rerun this code again in order to create that connection. That is called as a temporary library. And then there is a concept of permanent library. If you see, there were a couple of libraries that already came up when I actually launched my SAS, right? You see DSP41, DSP38, Hello, and all these are the libraries that come up the moment I launched my SAS over here. And these libraries came up because these were the permanent libraries. And how do you create a permanent library? You just have to click over here. You see this icon, add new library. If you will click on this, you just have to give the name. What is the name you want to give? Say suppose I want to give the name as DSP55. Okay, you have to check on enable at startup. That means when you will click on enable at startup, that would mean that that particular library is permanent. If we will not click on this, again it will be a temporary library. You browse the where those folders or those files are placed. Okay, simply go to that path and you will find. Okay, so over here you will find the SAS material and we have the prog1 and you can click on OK and your folder will be, your library will be created. You can see now DSP52 has also been created. It will also have the same data sets because I have used the same path. Okay, it also shows you the same data sets only, but the difference between the two is between this and this is if I close my SAS, this will be deleted, but this will still be there. Okay. Yeah. So this is how you create the libraries, and there are two type of libraries that you have in the SAS. This is something that you all have to understand and interpret over here. Now what I'll be doing is, since I already have the SAS datasets with me, okay, I already have some SAS datasets with me. I'll start with the very basic procedure over here. I'll be starting first with the procedures, and then we will come on to the data steps as well. So I'll start with the procedure. The first procedure that we will discuss over here is proc print. Proc print is nothing. It is a procedure that shows you in the output window in a particular SAS data set. Okay, that is what the purpose of proc print is. Like, you use that print. What print do? Print is a command that gives everything that is there in the document on your paper. The same is the use of proc print as well. I'll say proc print data is equals to, I am defining which data do I want to print. I am saying proc print data equals to, first of all, you have to define the library. Okay, since I have lot of libraries, I will say proc print the data from a library. Library name is DSP54 dot. From this library, which data set do you want to print? I want to print crew. So I will say crew. I will put a semicolon. I'll say run, and that's it. Let us run this code. So if you see now, SAS has given you the output over here, and this is what the data that you have in that data set. You have the hire date, the last name, the first name, the location of the crew, phone number, employee ID, job code, and salary. So this is the data that we have in that data set, and if you hover it down, you will be able to see all the rows. And if you will go into the log window, it will give you information. Created a library, we can see that command. Then what we did was we used the proc print. It is telling you that when you executed this command, there were 48 observations in that data set, and they are printed, and it took this much time to execute the code, right? So it prints all that information related to that code that you would have executed. So Akriti, you have a question, but then after ending up, where will those fields, I mean, which fields are you referring to? The files will be there at that particular folder only, right? Because files are actually placed on my system. Files are placed folders. The files will stay there only, right? It is just that the connection will broke up, right? Like if I give you an example, it is like a network. I
just wanted to know, like आपने बोला कि our connection will be broke. So now the folder name DSP54 we won't be able to see in that library section, right? In that explorer. So now then, if I want to choose any file, any data set in DSP54 column, so now how will I do that in the next session?
One thing, Akhil, your voice is very low. Can you literally just put on? Just give me a moment.
Hello.
Just
So am I audible now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just putting on the earphone so that it is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Yes, Akhil, now did.
Hanji, so I'm just saying that as you said that the connection will be broke between the library of DSP, between SAS and SAS dataset libraries of DSP54. So now, if
Right.
the in next from DSP54, then how should I manage that? Because now I won't be able to, I won't be able to click, or I won't be able to see that DSP54 button or the folder in the Explorer window. So now what should I do
Right,
then?
right. So then what you will do is you will actually re-execute this command. You will re-execute this command. You will say libname dsp54 and you will give that path and that will come over here. So let me show you. So if what will happen is the moment you will delete it, right? Say suppose you close it and you reopen that. So what will happen in that case is you will not find this DSP54 anymore over there, right? And now you had written a code. Now there was already a code that you had written, which was like this: procprint data is equals to dsp54.crew. Now what you will have to do is either you will refer to dsp55, which also points to the same path, and if that code will be very big, so what you will do is you will just re-execute this command. You will re-execute this command over there, and if you will submit this, you will get that dsp54 back. Oops, I didn't clicked on this, so over here I didn't took this semicolon.
So just by running only the first command, my whole program will be executed. Like my whole code
No,
will
no,
be executed.
not your whole code. That library will be recreated. That dsp54
Okay.
that we deleted, that will be recreated. Let me just
Okay.
end the statement.
And so to run
And
a whole of my command, I have to select all, and then I have to press the run button, right?
right, right. See, now I've
Okay.
executed. I got the dsp54 back, and now again I can run the previous code that I had over here. So my library is also created. All the data sets are over here. Okay, so this is just a connection that we have. Okay, so yep, so that is, I think let's take a short quick break over here and let's start after that. Okay, 6:10. Let's start around 6:20 and then we'll take the things forward from there. Okay. hear me? Vandana Mausi. Okay. So now what we'll do over here is, like, the first procedure that I've shown you over here is, that was the proc print. Okay. In this, what I did was, proc print was something, this is simply working like a view function. Whatever there is in that data set, you can actually see that in the form of an output over here. So if I go back to the DSP54, you can also open up these data sets. Like this was a data set that I was working upon, right? If I double click on this, it will also open up the data set in the SAS environment. Now this is the raw data set that I have opened up. So it is in the form of a table. It is showing me that this is the name of the columns, and these are the data that we have in this. Okay, you can see that raw structure. But when you see it with the help of the proc print, it shows you the output in a proper format, where you can see it coming in a proper, the output way that you see over here. Okay, now in this proc print that we have executed, so there are certain commands that we can use in the proc print, and one such command is var. Var stands for variable. Okay, now what has happened was that in that dataset crew, there were a lot of variables. You had hire date, you had last name, first name, location. What I want to do is, I only want to see selected variables in the output. Say suppose I want to see only the first name, space, location, space, EMP ID. So suppose I only want to see these three variables over here. So what will now happen is, if you say var, var stands for variable. I want to see only these variables in the output. So first name, the spellings are wrong. First, okay. Let me execute this. If I'll execute this, now in the output, something go wrong. If the output doesn't come, so output has come up. So I can see only three variables coming in the output: first name, location, and employee ID. Okay, so if you define var, so it takes care and shows you only those three variables in the output, and those three variables have to be separated by a space. You do not put a comma, you just put it via just put a space over there. Right. Data. Okay. And then I can run this. So if I'll run this now, so I will get the second title also, my first report, employees data. So likewise, you can give up to 10 titles. Okay. And now similarly, you can give some footnotes also. So if I give a footnote, I'll call it as end of the report. What this will do is, this will give a footnote in the last of this output, where it will go like, so if I execute this, so at the end of the report, you should be getting a footnote as well, right? End of the report. So this is called as a footnote. Similarly, you can give 10 footnotes in that report. Okay. So that there is no size constraint per title. You can give as long as much, you can give the title you want. And Sameer, I mean, it is not like, why the 10 titles would be needed. It is just that they have given a functionality. If you want to give some detailed description about that, many a times, if you would have seen any professional reports, they give a lot of information like date. They give the information like what was the data source of the report, right? Who was the owner of the report? Which team is managing this report, right? You see all that information that is also given in that report. So that is where these titles and footnotes come into the picture. Okay. And similarly, these footnotes are also limited to the 10. You can give 10, maximum of 10 footnotes for any report. But the problem with these titles and footnotes is that, they become kind of constant. Now, if suppose I run any other procedure, I'll say proc print. I will say proc print data equals to, let me go back to this Explorer. I'll come back to the Explorer. And let us use any other data set now. Let me use data set that is the flight info. Okay, I say proc print data equals to. So whenever you have to refer the data set name, first you have to give the library name. Library name is DSP54 dot. Then you have to give the name of your. This the data set, that is flight info. And now I'll simply run it. I'm not giving any extra command, so I'm simply running this command. So what will happen is, in this output also you will get the titles that I had used in the previous report. So if I'll execute this command and if I'll see the output, you see that those titles are coming over here as well, and you are getting the same footnote in this output as well. So this is the flight info, at which flight ID, on which date, from which destination did it took place. So you're getting those titles and footnotes over in this chart as well. If you want to get rid of those titles, what you actually have to do is you have to simply mention a command that is title, okay, and footnote. What this will do is this will make the titles and footnotes go blank. Okay, this will make the titles and footnotes go blank. So if I'll now run this, see, I do not get any title and any footnote. Okay. So title and footnotes will be carried on till the time you do not remove them for all the other outputs also that you will be printing in your output window. Okay. So now, when I said, there was this libraries that we was talking about. So there is, if I come back to this Explorer, and I come back over here, there is one library that you all get over here. Okay, and that library is basically the work library. So there is one library that comes, pre-installed, and that is the work library in your SAS. This is one library that is considered as a default library if suppose you do not mention the name of any library in front of the data set. Okay, for example, when you were referring to a data set, you forgot to write DSP54. Okay, so this is what happened with you. Let me write this code. I'll just copy this code and I'll paste it over here. Okay, now if in this code, what I'll do is I'll remove this DSP54 from here. Now if I'll execute this code, what will happen is, by default, since I have not given any library name in the starting of this data set, now SAS will think that this data set is in the work library. Okay, it will try to search this data set in the work library, but work library is empty. Let me run it and let us execute this. So code has actually would have given you an error. If I'll go back to the log, in the log window, you will see that file work.flightinfo.data does not exist. So that means it was trying to look out for that file in the work library, but it was not able to find it. And it is given that error that in the work library, there is no such data set by the name of flight info. So you got an error over here, right? So by default, if you do not give any name, so it's a default library that SAS will be assuming. And plus, the another important thing to know and understand about the work library is temporary library. And what do I mean by temporary library is, please all of you understand this carefully. This is a very important question in the interviews also, if you will go in any of the banks and all, or any of the companies for SAS. See, many a times what will happen is you will be creating certain data sets also in the SAS. Okay, you will be creating some data sets. Now, if you will save this data set in the work library, right, you will, although we have not seen as of now, but just try to understand it from that theoretical perspective. You know, what happen is like, if I'll, you know, when we create a data, okay, I'll give you a small demonstration of this so that you can understand it. If I'll show you, if I'll write a small data set, you know, just do not worry about that, what that code is. I already have a data set with me, right? I already have a data set with me, that is DSP, this crew data set. Using this crew data set, what I want to do is I want to create one more data set. Okay, so I am saying data, the new data set that I am creating, I am calling it as crew1. Okay, and what do I want to do is I want to use the already existing data set, that is dsp54.crew. Just understand it once and I'll run. Now what will happen is the code that I have written over here, you know, I told you that there are only two type of steps that we have in the SAS. One is proc step and another is data step. Proc step is to process the data. Data step is to create a data. Now, what this will do is, it will basically, what this will do over here is, this will create a new data set for me, and the name of the data set will be crew1. Okay, and how will that data set be created? It will be created using this data set. With the help of DSP54, it will take all the data of this data set and it will save all the data into crew1, right? Now, since, you know, I have not specified any library name in front of it. Okay, I have not specified any library name. If I'll specify DSP55, this data set will be created in the DSP55 library. But if I'll not specify anything, so by default SAS will assume that this data set has to be created in the work library. That is the default. Let us run it and let us create it. So it's always the best practice to check the log if you don't have got any errors. So I haven't got any errors. It is saying me there were 48 observations that were read from this data set, and these data set, this now the new data set that has been created. Where is it created? Work.crew1 has 48 observations and 8 variables. All that same data is now pushed into one more data set, and that data set name is crew1. This is the crew1 that has been created. It has the same data. Nothing has been changed. I have not changed anything. I have just made a duplicate of that. But the only change that I have made it, I have saved it into the work library. Okay. Now the challenge with that, now the challenge with this work library is this: the moment I'll delete this, I'll close this SAS session, any data set that is placed in the work library, that gets automatically deleted. That data set will be deleted from the system. But if I store that data set in any of the libraries, if I mention it DSP55, okay, I want to save this data over there. Okay, so in this case, what will happen is, what is the DSP55 library? DSP55 library is nothing. It is a path to this particular folder, right? It is just a path. It's a path of this folder. So that data set will actually be saved at this path. So that data set will not be deleted. It will stay over here till the time I do not come and actually personally delete that data set. So that is how that work library is different from the other libraries that you create. Are you all able to understand it? Anyone? Right, Saurabh. So it is like a volatile memory. Yeah. So the moment you close it, any data set that would have been stored over there, that will be deleted automatically. Okay, any questions, anyone? Yeah, so like if you see over here, you know, like when I said crew, when I didn't mention any name over here, and you can write over here also work.crew1. That is also the same thing. Even if you store it intentionally or unintentionally, right? Any data that is stored over there, it will be deleted away the moment you close it. Okay, you cannot give any path over here, Vishit, right? You cannot give any path. You can, well, while you are storing that data set, you have to give the name of the library. So that is like the syntax of this SAS. Okay, you cannot give the path. You will have to go by that first library and then the data set. Sure, Abhi, definitely. Yeah. So I'll definitely go slow. So over here, anything that you would like me to repeat, Agriti? I mean, that is, you think that is not clear. Okay. So you are able to understand it like this, but what I'll do is I'll share this code also, and you know what I'll do is let me suggest you one thing. What you can all do is you can go to this website and the student edition. You know, you have the student edition as well. If you would like to download this, you can download this. Okay, it's free, right? It's a student version. For this, you will actually have to install a VMware onto your machine. Okay, I'll share this path, the university edition of the SAS. Okay, you can install this on your machine if you want. The interface will be little different. But all these options will be there. You will have a program window, you will have a result window, you will have a log window. Everything will be there, but that interface will be little different. And so in order to install this, I can put this link over here on the chat. Just go to this link and okay, you can go over here on this get free software. It will give you all the instructions as well, how to get this installed. So you will have that complete download and installation guide for this. Okay, if you want to choose it onto Windows, choose your OS system. Okay, so these are few steps that you will have to follow. So first of all, you will have to create a virtual box on your machine. It will guide you how to create it. Then you will download that SAS on that virtual machine. You will configure it, and then you can start using that SAS. So this is how this complete part will be, you know, kind of created for you. You can download this in the form of PDF instruction, or you can watch any YouTube video as well that can help you out while doing this stuff. So these are the steps that you can follow in order to, if you want to use University Edition. Little bit difference in terms of interface. Okay, apart from that, if you want to download the same 9.4 version, so that you know you can go onto that torrent. Okay, from the torrent on the pirate proxy bay, what you have to do is you have to just type in SAS 9.4. Okay, that is something that you will be able to see that the SAS software link over there to download it. Okay. No, Saurabh, I mean, your system won't be dead. I mean, it will work fine as such, but it is a little bit of a time-taking process. Okay. And, you know, so please, from the torrent also, if you want, you can download it. That is another way. Had it been, you know, like if we had, because I already have that system on my local system, if we were in the regular classroom programs, I would have definitely given you this software in the drive itself, right? So this is what the software is, SAS 9.4, the complete setup. It's a 13 GB, 15 GB file approximately. That is the size of this file. And that is when it is zipped, okay? And in order to install this software, I mean, on many of the machines, it also gets installed without backdating the system. And on some machines, you might have to backdate your system, right? It will tell you that, you know, it cannot install the software because the software was expired on this particular date. Take your system back behind that date and do not take it too back, right? I mean, if that system is showing you कि expiry was on 13th of March of 2014, आप उसको ले गए अपना 1990 में 1980 में, इतना भी पीछे मत ले जाना, बर्थडे से भी पहले चला जाएगा वो, right? So just take it 5-10 days before that and then reinstall that machine or that software. That is the another way. So you can go on to that Pirate Bay torrent and all, and from there you can download that link. The problem with that is, you know, I cannot open that link over here on this machine. वो torrent थोड़ा कुछ उल्टा सीधी चीजें भी खोलना शुरू कर देता है parallelly. So you can all try it in your personal, the personal environment, and you can try it over there. A link of what, Nitin? This university edition? Are you talking about the university edition? Okay, so let me just grab that up. Just give me a moment. Pirate Bay. Let me go on to that. Actually, Pirate Bay का ना वो link change करते रहते हैं. Actually, it's actually that वो है थोड़ा piracy की वजह से link keeps on changing. Just give me a moment. I'm just grabbing that link. Just give me a moment, guys. I'm just opening that link up. It's not looking. Yep. So here is this link, right? I mean, this is something. How will I give you this link now? If I click on this, okay, I'll be able to download that HD torrent file, right? This is on the Pirate Bay. So it's a 13.5 GB file. So this is the file that you all have to download. You will be able to find it onto that Pirate Bay and just search it SAS 9.4 and you will get this link. Okay. If you will go onto this link and you will be able to download that what has happened. If you just click on this torrent file, this link, the torrent link, so you will be able to download that app. You need to have that BitTorrent on your machine in order to install this. Okay, if you will open it a BitTorrent, so you have a BitTorrent में खुल जाएगा and its download will start. So that is the way you will be able to download this 9.4 version. So let me see if I can download this link also. तो मैं क्या link ही share कर दूँगा basically वाला. Yeah, Sajid, you have already shared it. Perfect, right? So you can use this link or this link. So with these links, you can go and download this, right? So Sajid has already shared a link. So you just need to download that the BitTorrent in order to install it. थोड़ा time लगेगा. It will not. The SaaS will take around half an hour to 45 minutes to get completely installed. Okay. So please be patient, and still, if you get any troubles, so definitely I'll be there to help you out. Okay, it's working. I mean, great. I mean, if you can download it and you can use it, so great idea. So you can use it that way as well. And yeah, so I think I'll keep it up till here, keeping into the mind that you don't all have that basically these the data sets also. And I would like to share a link with you all in the meantime. So just give me a moment. Okay, yeah, plus, so what I'll be doing is I'll be sharing this link with you, SaaSim articles. Okay, if you will come into this SaaSim articles folder, this is a Google Drive link. So there are a couple of things that I would like to tell you over here. So आपके जितने भी data sets हैं, right? The data sets that we will be using, all those data sets are in this Prog1 and Prog2. You can download these zip files and you will be able to unzip and you will be able to save all those data sets that we will be using in the session on your local machine. Okay. Apart from that, there are the books that are provided by the SaaS itself, SAS itself. You can read these books. These are very easy to go books and very interesting to read as well. And everything is given in a very short and crisp format. If you will try to go through this book over here. Okay. And this is like the official book that SAS provides. Okay. And apart from that, there are a couple of exercises which are related to the SQL. So SQL is something, there is a part called Proc SQL where I'll be teaching you the SQL as well. So you will be able to kind of, if you would like to work on that, so you will be able to do those assignments as well. So I have placed all those things right now itself only over here on this link, and I'm sharing this path, okay, from where you will be able to download all this stuff. So privileges are same, Saurabh. I mean, both the privileges are same on the version that we will be using and the original version that you have, the paid the edition. So you will be able to use all the things that you can do on the paid version also. Okay, class. So I think that is where we will take a pause for today and we'll continue on the things. And I hope many of you will be able to install this SaaS by tomorrow. Okay, I have shown you both the ways, the university edition also and the technical way, right? I will not use the word, I will say the technical way by which you can also get that SAS installed. Both the ways I've shown you. I have given you the link from where you can all download these data sets. So let's meet tomorrow, guys. Okay. Till then, good night. Take care. Bye. Thanks, Saurabh.